Hello, what is up, YouTube? It is your boy, Brutal Chaos. Welcome back to my channel, guys. You have been freaking awesome. More Warhammer for you today, guys. We're going to be checking out The Awakening of the Emperor by Wolflord Bro. Man, not got to watch this guy. Was recommended by you all. More is to come. Like I said, stay tuned. We do reactions of everything, so if you got something you want me to react to, let me know in the comments below. I'll check it out. We'll save it. We'll get to it eventually because we got a list, let me tell you. So more is to come. Just keep going through the list and grabbing videos here and there. So let's pull this up. Without further ado, like I said, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hitting that like button, all that stuff. Good to have you guys here on the channel. Let's check out The Awakening of the Emperor 40K.
Hey everyone, Wolflord Ro here. Before I begin today, a big thank you to A Priest of She Who Firsts for the virtual gift voucher. Huge thank you, my friend, for the support. It is truly appreciated. Thank you. However, you will not tempt me to the ruinous powers. Today we discuss The Awakening of the Emperor.
Yes.
And all the signs we have seen of the Emperor's re-emergence. General spoiler warning to begin, as we will be discussing events from across the lore. So you have been warned. But with that said, let's just jump straight in. So, with the return of the Ultramarine Primarch Rabute Guilliman and his resultant crusade to terror, we received for the first time, well, ever, complete and utter confirmation that the Emperor is indeed still alive. And this was confirmed in the novel Dark Imperium. Between the time of the Emperor's ascension to the throne and Guilliman's own death, the Emperor had spoken to no one. How could anything have persisted for 10,000 years, he had thought. There was the wizened corpse, surrounded by banks of groaning machinery, his sword upon his knee. Sorrow suffused everything. The sacrifice required to keep the Emperor alive sickened the Primarch. If he were alive, he appeared dead.
It's crazy, though, how long he stayed alive, which is insane.
Guilliman had expected nothing. But he spoke. With words of light and fire, the Emperor had conferred with his returned Primarch. Now this laid to rest once and for all the theories that the Emperor may actually be dead. And even better, not only did the Emperor speak with his returned son, since then we have seen him re-emerge as a major player on the galactic playing field once more, as we have spoken about before. So just what has the Emperor been up to? Well, as it was the return of his son that showed us the Emperor still lived.
That's awesome that he's still alive, though. Like, you know he's not dead because when the Astronomicon would close, you know? So, you know, with how powerful the Emperor is, yeah, he's definitely alive. Barely, but he's alive.
So it was that Guilliman's Indomitus Crusades began to show us the Emperor did far more than that. Now, Dark Imperium and Plague Wars are getting the rework, as we know, but hopefully none of the Emperor content will be affected. As it stands, the first mention of the Emperor is in him calming the warp before Guilliman's fleet, allowing him to make far greater haste across the galaxy than expected, as we can see in this short passage from Plague War between Kugath, the Greater Demon, and Mortarion himself. More than troublesome, said Mortarion. I fear that he is under the protection of the thrice-cursed Emperor. Kugath winced at open voicing of the forbidden name. I said I would not name him. Why must you? The demon wailed. And though Guilliman is too unimaginative to see that this is the case, hateful light quells the storms before his ship.
I was also thinking, like, the Emperor is so powerful, like, why couldn't he, like, transfer his soul into another body or another custody or something like that? Like, you know, like to keep him, to let him move or something. I feel like they have the technology to do that, but, you know, pretty cool.
My father's work, perhaps. It's fairly safe to assume that this is a given, and really doesn't need a lot of explaining. The faster Guilliman's forces can move throughout the Imperium, the faster it can be saved, and the forces of chaos pushed back. Guilliman is the first weapon in nigh on 10,000 years that gives the Emperor real hope. A chance for more than inevitable defeat. To not just stem the tide, but to truly fight back. Later in the story, as Guilliman is battling the greater demon Kugath and his brother Mortarion, he is saved from death only by the arrival of a girl seemingly possessed by the power of his father.
See?
Anathema. One word. It swam across the air, wafting towards the girl as soft as silk, carried off on the wind. Time slid to a stop. Atoms stopped their motions. Light hung unmoving in the air. Sprays of blood made solid arches over the field. Bolts hung mid-flight. An eternal cold gripped Colquhoun. Only he, for reasons he did not know, could look about him freely. All warriors were locked motionless. Guilliman strained in his bonds of living light. Mortarion had his scythe raised over his head. But, although things had ceased their movement, the girl still moved. She turned her head and looked at Colquhoun. In her face burned golden eyes as old as time.
That's awesome. See, I feel like he could, like, possess or transfer his, like, powers somehow.
And from her mouth sprang the luminance of a star. Within his ornate helm, Colquhoun's mouth fell open. "My lord," he whispered.
That's
now
awesome.
to me this is quite clearly the Emperor of mankind.
Yep.
And not some other power as a few theories have speculated. Colquhoun, for one, a Custodes, immediately recognizes the power as his lord, the Emperor of mankind.
That's awesome.
And you do have that added detail of him being the only person on the battlefield, demons included, who can still freely move. The Custodes always the Emperor's chosen bodyguard, his closest servants. The demons cry out anathema, their name for the Emperor. And lastly, that description. In her face burned golden eyes, as old as time. And from her mouth sprang the luminance of a star. It's undoubtedly the power of the Emperor. Even after...
Especially when a custody, like, spots it, man, from, like, a mile away. I mean, you already know, if the custody sees it, like, a Custodes sees that in the eyes and stuff, yeah, it's definitely the power of the Emperor.
The conflict itself, when laying her blind eyes on Guilliman for the first time, the girl utters the line, "You look like him." Now obviously this can't be a physical perception, more a psychic feeling, a psychic sense. And Guilliman, while no real psyker, again as in all Primarchs, has some innate ability built within him, and his aura would undoubtedly be similar to his father's. The alternative theories for this encounter are interesting, and who knows, we may get a twist in the reworks, but as it stands, it's undoubtedly the Emperor here.
It's
So
true.
two very definitive actions thus far taking place. Now from there, we move out into the wider lore, and unbelievably, to the Alpha Legion
Ooh.
and the novel Shroud of Night. Now some of you may remember my review of this novel, because in my opinion it's an absolute 5 out of 5 smash for me. An absolute stellar adventure ride following an Alpha Legion warband. Not your usual Alpha Legion story, no subtleties, no secrets, just straight up adventure. The Imperial world of Sedreka is under siege by a huge host of World Eaters
Okay.
across the Great Rift in Imperium Nihilus, and the Alpha Legion have been employed to infiltrate this battle-torn planet to corrupt something known as the Beacon. Well, as it turns out, this Beacon is actually a man, another soul possessed,
Wow.
or you could say blessed, with a portion of the Emperor's power,
Okay.
becoming a mini Astronomicon, if you will, a light amid the darkness of the Imperium Nihilus. However, the forces of the World Eaters cannot be stopped by the stubborn Imperial defenders. And this is where their story gets really interesting, because the Emperor instructs Celestine, who is fighting amid the defenders, to help the Alpha Legion warband escape with the Beacon. Which she does, going toe to toe with Khan the Betrayer to allow them to escape.
Okay.
She knew this as surely as she knew that the Emperor had meant to see the Beacon in the hands of Kassar and his brothers, rather than let it fall to the worshippers of Khorne or Slaanesh. It was a grim equation, a measure of how desperate the Imperium's plight had become. But Celestine trusted her Emperor for thousands of years, across dozens of lifetimes. He had never, ever led her wrong. Now why the Emperor has done this, we just don't know.
I really like the Emperor of 40K, man. Dude, he's really, really awesome. He really thinks out what he does, man. And you know he's definitely alive. Like I said, he's doing all these actions and stuff. It'd be cool to see him somehow get get a body back or get a body similar, or like permanently eventually transfer his powers and make a full-fledged comeback. That'd be so sweet.
But
Oh, and I love the fire sword he has. That's always been one of my favorite things as soon as I've seen him.
I'm really hoping for a sequel to this amazing read. Just
that.
why would the Emperor
Dude's a
entrust
beast.
the Beacon to an Alpha Legion warband, who we have seen to be suffering demonic taint? This isn't a warband you're expecting to be redeemed. It's definitely a risky gamble on the Emperor's part.
Yep.
And I'm really looking forward to doing some speculation on just where it may be headed. But well, next up of course we have Ephrael Stern, as we spoke about earlier in the week, the Emperor's new saint. With Ephrael giving herself over to her belief in him completely, truly becoming a saint of the Emperor. The light grew, and with it came thunder, and it was still gold, purest gold, the gold of a throne. The thunder was a voice too great for sound, too vast for words. Though words formed in her mind, words placed by a force that was sanctity itself. Be thou my sword. Now these are all the signs I have seen thus far of.
I mean, I think that's enough signs, really. I mean, Bacti's possessing people, the eyes of gold. I mean, the dude's super OP powerful, and he's still alive. He's been fed souls every day, man. Like his psychic conscience and stuff, he's still there, man. For this dude to still be alive after the Horus Heresy, after everything went down and over time, man, and still to be able to do things just shows how powerful this man is.
The Emperor acting within the galaxy since the return of Guilliman. And I thought it a good idea to really name them for those of you who may be new to the lore or the channel. When we talk of the Emperor awakening and acting out in the galaxy once more, these are the events we are referring to. Like I said, there are a lot of theories out there for them being alternative powers rather than the Emperor himself. And of course they are always possible, but for me, they are quite definitely signs of the Emperor himself.
That's true.
And well, I only think this storyline is going to become more relevant the closer we get to the release of Godblight, the third installment of the Dark Imperium series.
Okay.
We'll definitely be doing
Godblight.
more Emperor talk after Astra Militarum week next week, because man, I really want to dive into some of these theories. Just what will transpire? What powers could it be other than the Emperor? And just what could the Emperor have planned, if he has a plan at all? But as always guys, what do you think? As always, drop your thoughts in the comments below.
I mean, I think right there shows enough justification that he's, like I said, once again alive. Some of his actions, I think, as time goes on, he's going to show more and more actions. Like I said, I can see, like I said, the fact that he can possess people or bless his powers onto someone and help, you know, still help his son and things like that is crazy. So guys, man, awesome video. That was really awesome. I love anything about the Emperor. It's super cool. Warhammer is really awesome. Like I said, I'm still new, still learning. I feel like I'll still be new to Warhammer for a long time. So guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the reaction. Like I said, thank you for hitting that sub button. Thank you for hitting the like button. And thank you for leaving your comments. Like I said, I love hearing from you guys. More is to come on the channel. Like I said, stay patient. And we'll see you guys in the next video.